Men are chilling. It's women who are in crisis. So we're seeing all the videos now pop up online of women saying that men are disappearing from society, men no longer approach, they don't know where the men have gone. But the reality is that men are just chilling at home. Men are relaxing. It's not that men are giving up, it's simply that men have walked away. The reality is that we are regrouping. Why are men walking away from society, and why do women not realize that it's not that men are giving up, it's that men are simply evolving and adapting? And how is this going to change society forever going forward? Watch the end of the video to have all of those questions answered. Today's video comes from Manosphere Highlights Daily. His channel will be linked in the description of the video, so you can go check him out and support him. Go ahead and check us out over on Rumble. Our Rumble's linked in the description of the video. And also, don't let them tell you that you will own nothing and be happy. Go and check out Anger's Crypto Academy to learn how to buy, sell, trade crypto, and make massive profit. It's also linked in the description of the video. Finally, hit the like button, turn on notifications, and hit the subscribe button if you already haven't to help push us out into the YouTube algorithm. And now let's begin.
I think we sort of reached this, I think rather unfortunate, frankly, high water of sort of almost jokey, feminist, progressive movement misandry. You know, we talked about girl bosses and the future being female. And then, of course, the flip side of that was it being okay to be like, men are trash. We don't need men anymore. And I think that also left a lot of men thinking, well, okay, if being a man is bad, if masculinity is toxic, what am I supposed to do?
Hold the line.
Here's the reality. If masculinity is toxic, what we're supposed to do, they don't give a damn. The reality is that men have walked away and they're panicking right now. Okay? They think that men are simply leaving society because they're demoralized. Men have to succeed to survive. Why men are walking away from society is not because they're demoralized and broken. They're walking away from society because they realize the best way to survive and thrive is by separating themselves from the thing that is not working for them. And that's relationships and society in and of itself.
Hold the freaking line. Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily, where we call out feminist foolishness, expose women's hypocrisy, dismantle double standards, and stand up for men. Now let's get real. We've been talking about this for decades in this space. And what happened? The manosphere got laughed at, ridiculed, censored, labeled as toxic. But fast forward to 2025, and guess what? Our talking points can't be denied anymore. They are everywhere. And that's exactly why the mainstream media has to swoop in. Because once a narrative gets too big to ignore, they have to control it. That's how this system works. It's the media that helped create this crisis in the first place. And now they get to package it up neatly for you in a nice little documentary. Case in point, the brand new CBS documentary, Boys to Men, Why America's Sons Are Struggling. On the surface, it looks like they're finally addressing the issues we've been screaming about for years. But if you pay attention, really pay attention, you'll see how carefully they're still controlling the narrative. And that's exactly what we're about to break down. Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we men ain't we.
We men ain't we.
We men ain't we.
We men ain't we.
So the Manosphere used to be a collection of predominantly online websites and blogs that all shared a belief men were the oppressed group in society and women were doing the oppression.
Hold up. That's not 100% correct. Keyword, society. Women cannot oppress men without the backing of government and without society.
Notice how they're trying to reframe it, and notice how serious the issue has become. You see, the Manosphere was a loose collection of ideas. It was forums, it was blogs. It's very hard to shut down the Manosphere right now because the Manosphere has evolved in many different ways. All the Manosphere has to do right now is just create videos centered around the issues that are happening with men in society. And you don't have to actually say anything very specific. You can completely, you can avoid certain topics, and just you can put videos on, for example, showing women talking about men, gaslighting men, even videos like this from CBS, where they're showing what women are saying and how women are gaslighting. Men are watching these videos and they're looking at them and they're saying, this is sign language. It's shame, it's insult, it's guilt, it's gaslighting because they need to be right. And they try to suppress the manosphere. They try to suppress manosphere videos. Guys, look at what the manosphere is now. Look at the size of the manosphere. The manosphere now encompasses so many different forms of media. Vara Dark, a video game channel that plays, side scrollers. They're supposed to be about video games, just to be clear. And side scrollers covers all of these different topics, delving into politics and all. It's just so massive. It's such a wide ranging scope of ideas discussed over on side scrollers. The video game community has evolved, leaving behind woke platforms like IGN. You can't spell ignorant without IGN, and YouTubers have basically taken that over. It's crazy. You it's I mean, even in the medical community right now, you have guys like psychacs and so many others. Every community, that the manosphere has spread so far that it's touched everything, and it's amazing. It's unbelievable. So trying to silence the manosphere, it no longer works. It's not easy. It's very, very difficult. It's basically saying things along the lines of, well, we're going to put in new guidelines that control what you're allowed to discuss about. I mean, they've tried that already. And you have channels that are now just telling young men to, stay positive, young men, focus on yourself, focus on build yourself up. Don't try to go out there and jump into relationships that are toxic. You're not telling these young men anything bad. But the problem is that what this is doing is it's pulling men away from being simps. And society cannot function without a large group of men that are compliant and willing to sacrifice themselves for the state, for women, for the greater cause. And men aren't doing it anymore. Men are done. Men pay 80% of all taxes. Women make 80% of all consumer purchases. So what happens when men begin walking away in unison? That's less tax revenue, significantly less tax revenue. And if you begin overburdening men with taxes, like, okay, well, we're gonna bachelor taxes are here. Bachelor taxes it's very short-term thinking. Bachelor taxes don't encourage men to work harder. Bachelor taxes, especially when inflation is extremely high already, and the prospects of having children and any of these things have just completely evaporated, only encourage men to work less. I'll tell you, I'll explain it to you. Because no matter how you look at it, we all fall into a certain income bracket. So the more you make, the more they take, which means the less you make, the more you get to keep for yourself. So if you begin pushing men to the point where we're just going to keep on taking more and more and more, you're basically just living to work. You work so that you can basically live to work. Everything that you do, the clothing that you wear, the meager food that you're able to afford and eat, everything is centered around work, and you're told that's what you're here for. You're here to work and to sacrifice. For who? For what? All right? And then so you ultimately come to the conclusion, yeah, this shit isn't working for me. So, it's literally F this stuff, I'm out. F this stuff, I'm out. I don't really care. I'm just going to get the F up out of here. And that's what ends up happening. And because the average man can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road, the average woman cannot. There are videos in China right now of men who, they do food delivery or whatever little menial labor job that they choose to do, and then they show videos online of them cooking good food and eating well. They live well, they sleep well, they poop well. All right. They have a small, humble abode. And guess what? They have everything that they want and everything that they need. They have savings. Some men are so well off right now because they're no longer dating and having relationships that they've stopped working entirely. And they've now and they're now just living off their savings, and they've come to the conclusion that when life ends, it ends. They don't care anymore. They don't care. They're not invested. So men are basically just regrouping. They're changing their perspective. There's a post online, it's a meme where it basically says that, the moment that a man is able to control his lust, he basically realizes just how much how boring modern relationships are, and how very little most women in modern society have to actually say and bring to the actual table. It's basically about constantly entertaining them. It's the whole me. What can you do for me? Can you make me happy? How can you entertain me? And the thing is, you can never truly make a woman happy, because the only things that will ever make a woman happy are more and something else, because they need a constant cycle they need a constant cycle. They need a constant, ever and never ending cycle of things to keep them happy, or else they're miserable. Because it's basically the dopamine thing. Here's the meme for you guys. I'll show it to you. And again, I'm not being disrespectful, but the meme says, "Control your lust, and you'll understand how boring 90% of women are." And I'm not saying all women are boring, but it's just a meme that it's been on the web for a long time, and it illustrates that men have to learn how to be funny. Men have to learn how to provide value and be interesting. Women don't have to do any of these things. And they basically say that they will always be on top because men will always want them, and they repeat it over and over and over. And where the hell does that come from? It comes from the feminist, because they tell these women that, ladies, it doesn't matter if we make mistakes, it doesn't matter what we say, it doesn't matter what we do, it doesn't matter if we're disrespectful to them. At the end of the day, there's one thing protecting us. There's one saving grace, and that is that men will always want us, because we are women, so we will always be desired. This is the constant belief that they have. It is almost a religious belief. It is a firm belief that keeps them going, believing that no matter what happens, they will always be desired, and that will be their saving grace, so they can get away with essentially anything that they do, because we will always need them, because we will always have to fall back on them, because they make babies, and we will always lust. We will always lust because we cannot be alone. We will always desire because we are too afraid of being alone. And they don't comprehend that it doesn't work like that, because they've been convinced by the sisterhood, they've been convinced by the Sims, that no matter what happens, because of their gender, they will always remain a protected and desired class. And that's not how reality actually works. That's another reason why men are jumping into crypto, so they can protect their assets, hide their assets, and grow their assets as inflation increases and the value of cash continues to decline, while the value of tangible assets skyrockets. And it's not because they're becoming suddenly more valuable; it's because the money is becoming it's worth a lot less. In a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now. It's bad out there, guys. It's bad out there.
Building the system to enable it. Think about it. If a woman falsely accuses you of something as serious as rape, why does she do it? Because the system rewards her. A woman isn't out here trying to be fair. She's playing a game where the rules are rigged in her favor. That's not female oppression. That's society empowering her to oppress you. Big difference.
Mariel Barnes is an associate professor of public affairs with a focus on gender, and has done extensive research on the manosphere and the ideology of so-called red pill content.
The idea of red pill comes from the Matrix. Neo is offered a red pill and a blue pill. If he takes the red pill, he wakes up and he sees the truth about the society he lives in. With the manosphere, when they say they're red pilled, what they mean is they have taken the red pill, similarly to Neo, and they've realized that actually everything they've learned about society before is incorrect. There is no patriarchy, there is no misogyny. In reality, it's women who are in charge and women who are oppressing men and men who are suffering in modern society.
And did you catch what she just did? She boxed you in with that wording. Like, does she even know what patriarchy means? Because the way the mainstream uses it today, it's automatically negative. But here's the irony. Women have benefited the most from patriarchal systems. Why do you think the term daddy government exists? The father in the home was replaced with a welfare state.
And here's something very interesting. This is where modern women don't want to go. This is something that they don't comprehend. Right now, you don't see red pills popping up online like that anymore. The red pill is kind of like it's yesterday's news. It's old. It's like, oh, don't forget to take your daily dose of the red pills anymore. Bro, everyone's had that. Everyone's taken that. If you haven't taken if you have not taken a helping of red pills by this point, okay, you are deliberately choosing to be a simp. You are a part of the problem, okay? That's how you survive. Okay? It's a choice for you at this point. You are the agents of the Matrix. Men are not talking about the red pill anymore. Right now, what you see popping up online discreetly are pictures of the black pill. The red pill told us that the world doesn't work the way we thought it did. The black pill teaches us that the world is much darker than we actually realized it was. It shows us just how dark the world really is. It leads to men becoming extremely cynical, in some ways pessimistic, and finally apathetic to the world around them, realizing that we live in a very dark world with very dark people, and I don't trust any of them. We're now living in a trustless society where no one trusts anyone else, while they're demanding, while those who are taking advantage of us are demanding trust from us. It's not happening. Women don't comprehend. You cannot have a functional society without trust. Without men no longer trust marriage. They no longer trust institutions. They no longer trust the state. They no longer trust other men. They don't trust relationships. They don't trust. If without men, society begins to decline. Society begins to what's the word? Degrade. Okay, and that's the thing. Women consciously know this, but they will never admit to it. That's the reason why they're putting out these videos. And of course, don't be surprised in the coming years where they start putting out their own content directed at the manosphere, their own red pill content, where they basically try to acknowledge some of the things that men have been saying for years, but then shift the narrative to what they consider positive masculinity. And then by doing that, so for example, you'll have an episode of CSI, and it acknowledges some of the things. It doesn't put the blame on women, but it acknowledges some of the things that men are going through in society. And then by the end of the episode, it shows a bunch of men bonding and crying together, or not necessarily crying, but bonding. And it's like, and there are women there too. And this is an expression of healthy masculinity. And then they show an evil black pillar like spending the rest of his life in prison because it doesn't really, you never go black pill, man. You never go black pill. This is exactly where they're going right now. They're trying to, like King of the Hill. They actually did this. They tried to take on the manosphere where they tried to portray like a guy that looked like Andrew, Tate, and and they tried to shame him, say that he was like a wimp, and and men should, men, the friend zone isn't a bad place. You should respect a woman if she wants to put you into the friend zone, and the alimony system is not what it's cracked up to be. Women are taking, there are a lot of men who are living off alimony themselves. It was a pretty bad episode. It was a really bad episode, and it just illustrates that this is their tactic right now, where they're trying to show like they're healthier expressions of masculinity, where you can be like Hank Hill and marry someone like Peggy, and now everything is hunky dory. It's like basically telling you to live in the, just get comfortable with being a simp, and you're being lied to by the bad old guys in the manosphere who are still living off mommy's money. That's literally how they characterize the Andrew Tate figure in the episode, where it was a white dude with a bald head, bro, and a goatee. Guys, they will go to any length to control us and to shift the narrative. It doesn't matter anymore. We can see right through it. There's an experiment that has been done numerous times where they take monkeys, two different monkeys. They put two different monkeys in a cage, and they basically, there's a button that they press, and every time they press the button, some of you guys know the experiment. Food comes out, right? And so the monkeys press the button and they get food. Every time they press the button, they get food. And then after they let the monkeys get used to the system, they begin pressing. The monkeys begin pressing the button, but then, but then they stop giving one monkey food, and the other who presses the button starts getting food. So the other monkey keeps getting food. So the other monkey's looking, and he's pressing the button. He's getting nothing, while the other monkey who presses the button keeps getting food. And suddenly, what that reinforces is that the other monkey must be better than this other monkey. So they're both putting in the same amount of effort, the same amount of work, but they're now being treated unfairly. They're now being treated differently. And the monkey who's being treated unfairly now starts to freak out and get absolutely furious because he's being treated unfairly. What society believes is that that as men, we are we have less cognitive reasoning than the animals that I just discussed in the study. How crazy is that? Where is this ultimately leading us is a society of extraordinary division, but it's going to lead to women facing extraordinary hardship, poverty, rates of destitution. You're going to have a lot of women living in their cars, living on the street, living in shelters, living in the woods, having to go hang out with Yogi and Boo Boo. They chose the beer, but now they don't want to go hang out with Yogi and Boo Boo and play in the woods. So that's really where things are going. There's nothing good coming, guys. It's nothing good. It's bad juju. It's bad juju. The value of the dollar is going to just keep on declining. Like, I was thinking I was going to make a poll about it. Like, the prices are so insane right now that we don't even remember just how little things used to cost compared to now. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go order a burrito, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this burrito is only it's only like $16. That's not terrible. It's $16. It's kind of smaller, but it's still a decent size. But I notice it's smaller, and then I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, how much was I paying for a burrito 10 years ago? Huh, Angry? How much were you paying for that same burrito 10 years ago? Was that burrito even $10, Angry? Think about it very carefully, Angry. Was that burrito even $10? I think it was $10. Angry, are you sure it wasn't 8? Are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't even like more like $5 or $6? Like, guys, we are now in such an insane time that we're paying double for everything, or near to double for everything, and we don't even realize it anymore. If something costs a third more than what it cost 10 years ago, it looks so much cheaper. Like, oh my gosh, we're paying a third more, 10 years later, but thank God, because now everything is, because so many things are now cost twice what they used to, or more than twice what they used to. A box of macaroni and cheese was 50 cents like 10 years ago. It's now $2 a box. Cans of beans, they used to be $1 or 89 cents or 50 cents a can. Now the cans are smaller, and you're getting what looks like half the amount, or two-thirds of what you used to get for like 2 to 3 times the price. And it just keeps going up and up, up and up. I mean, eventually, who the hell is going to pay $5 for a can of beans? Who the hell is going to pay $5 for a can of beans in the coming years that 10, 15 years ago was going for 50 cents and you were getting twice the amount? So that basically tells us that not only has our money declined, but the value of our labor is increasingly being undervalued. They're telling us that our labor, we have to invest more in education. We've invested so much more in education, and that they're telling us that the value of our labor is now worth, in some cases, not even not forget about half. It's not worth, in many cases, 2/3 of what it was worth, not half of it, or sometimes it are even, or it's basically down to maybe 20%. So the value of our labor today is worth somewhere like 20 to 30% of what it, it's worth. A value for our labor today is worth only around 20 to 30% of what it was worth maybe 20 years ago. And that's crazy. Can you imagine being told that you need a college degree now? You need a college degree now, but your labor, your contribution is actually now worth only around 20 to 30% of what it was worth 20, 30 years ago. How ridiculous is that? You have to invest significantly more than people did for the same job back then. And it's worth less, significantly less than it was worth back then. We're being robbed. So it's not that men are giving up. It's just that men are regrouping, men are reevaluating, men are evolving. Because that's the thing. We have women struggle with agency. Men have agency. We basically have to adapt and find and we have to adapt and grow so that we can survive. Women are designed for replication, men are designed for survival. The only reason why men engage in the real process of replication is to improve our chances of survival, our individual chances of survival. That's why we have children. That's why we form families. But if they are no longer working for us, that means they're working against us. And if it's working against us, we quickly adapt and walk away. We saw that with the Mouse Utopia experiment. And now that's playing out in reality. Now that's playing out in the real world. So men are chilling, and it's not men who are in crisis, it's women who are in crisis. It's women who are struggling to survive. It's women who are no longer able to tap into the state or the simp economy the way that they once did. It's women who are no longer able to rely on men to subsidize their living the way that they once did. And that's why they're putting out videos like this. That's why they're doing this, because they need us. But they're going to continue. They're going to try to gaslight us back to the table and shame us back into submission, and it's just not going to happen, because men are saying, "Yeah, I can happily live in it. I can survive in a shoebox at the side of the road. I can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road and thrive, while you can't." Let me know what you guys think, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.